Hello everybody, welcome to Tea with Jane. And as always, it's great to be here with you all. I trust the sound is good. I always have to ask because well, let me check this guy over here. Maybe distorting a little bit, hold on. I always have to check and recheck and ask you because, just because technology and I have a love-hate relationship. Heard Joseph Campbell say that technology is like an Old Testament God, a million rules and no mercy. So, I invite everybody to bring your questions early, whatever's on your heart, whatever's on your mind, and to just bring it uninhibitedly and unashamedly, whatever it might be. There's no such thing as a question that shouldn't be asked, and it'll be my job to try to get to the depth of it, the question behind the question kind of thing, because there always is. On one level, our questions, the things that draw our attention, it may seem that on the surface it may be insignificant, mundane even. Same thing as goes for desires, right? You get on the spiritual path and then suddenly I shouldn't have a desire for a new house or a bigger house or a car or a better job or better relationships. All of that I should put aside. I should be free of all of that. And that's not the path at all. As a matter of fact, that kind of a path leads to the suppression of our natural human inclinations, and it leads to as well as leading to, because of that, and this disconnection really from our humanness, it leads to intellectualizing. Just got distracted here. My mic is rubbing on something. Okay. Give me one quick second, because I tried to put it under my shirt, because it's like those kind of attachment mics. So give me a second, and I will cure that. But hold on while I'll be right back. Still here, and now you're going to hear a lot of rubbing on it. And some banging. I guess I should have muted it, but nah, you can know I'm still here. I've got this mic that for some reason I just can't find an over-the-ear microphone that actually works for me and doesn't break right away. But so that looks weird. Yeah, it looks weird, but it's just kind of hanging there, held on by a magnet. So now the rubbing should stop, because now you can see it. Looks like a badge I'm wearing of some kind, right? Makes me look important. Maybe I should put a star on it. What do you think? All right. So, my chair started squeaking too. How's the mic now? And if I sit still, at least as much as I possibly can. Yeah, this is recent. The chair didn't do that when I first got it, so. Where was I? Yes. Where was I? We don't want to confuse natural, harmless, innocent human desires with the desires that are driven towards being and maintaining the egoic person. When I say person, that's what I mean. I'm talking about the sense of self that is separate, that is identified with the body and experience and conditioning and all sorts of things. That's what I mean by the person. It actually isn't referring to like persona, personality, individual characteristics. So we all have desires, and they're innocent. When the desire becomes a way of propping up or substantiating that sense of self, then the desire is no longer innocent. It's been distorted. It's been turned into something that it actually isn't. It's been turned into a seeking of, well, basically you're looking for the pony in the dung. There's no pony there. It's the mirage in the desert. This is such an important thing to understand. Our experience as human beings is totally innocent. There's nothing wrong with it. In fact, when it's seen as it actually is, it is the very manifestation, the very presence of your true beingness. It is presence. The essence of you, the ultimate of you, is the perceiver that cannot be perceived. But what is being perceived is not a problem. If it is being perceived as who you really are, as the self. All the exercises, all the meditations that bring you to a place where you can witness the fact that you are always witnessing. You are always perceiving. And that what is being perceived is, in its essence, just the harmless and innocent and beautiful manifestation of the perceiver, the ultimate perceiver. Then you can recognize that the impulse we have to identify with the form and therefore shape our perception of what is experienced, that's the only thing you have to concern yourself with. There's no such thing as something that is inherently right or wrong, good or bad. That doesn't mean that in our human existence there are some things that serve us and some things that don't. And a discernment is needed to see that. But unless you're perceiving as the self, it will always be distorted, and even our sense of right and wrong, good and evil, will be slanted. It will be lopsided. It'll come down to, if it benefits me, it's good. If it doesn't benefit me, it's evil. Now there's evil people and evil stuff, and it becomes very oppressive. It's always enforced through threat, which is basically the Old Testament God and what the New Testament God has become, although that was not the intention behind it. So, how can I get this across? The sense of a separate self is just a separate self. You are not separate. You've never been separated. You are nothing less than the perfect, innocent, beautiful, magnificent, and boundless self. That is what you are and have always been. But the thought that you are not, the thought I am this or that. I am this body. I'm this form. I'm this person. I have this experience. All of that has been projected onto the direct and harmless and innocent experience of just various aspects of yourself. The person is not a thing but a belief. The belief, then, seeing the world through the eyes of that belief, the world will seem to be filled with persons and difficulties and struggles and the like. And as the person, then we try to solve those problems. We try to get agreement on what's right and wrong. We try to become free of it. We try to get a better condition. But the real problem isn't what's out here that is being experienced. It's the one we believe ourselves to be, whose eyes through which we're seeing it. Every desire, every question arises from your true being, because that's where everything arises from. And in satsang, in the spiritual inquiry, our job is to not just, it's an illusion, get rid of it, but to see what is an illusion and what isn't. What's the projection and what isn't. And kind of walk the question, the desire, back to what it's really looking for. And ultimately, every question comes down to, how do I become free? Free of fear, free of doubt, free of struggle. Well, the answer lies in coming to see who you are not, which in that process reveals who you are. But who you are is not a form. It's nothing your mind can grasp. It is outside of everything our mind can do. It is outside of all human categorization, all human research. It doesn't invalidate all of that. It's just that the mind is not the tool, the right tool for the job, if the goal is self-knowledge, is self-realization. The only tool for that is inquiry into the self itself, which is you. And I see questions coming, so I'm just going to jump right into them after I have a little splash of my morning beverage. So I'll just go back and say hello to everybody. A lot of stuff in here. That's why it looks so thick and green. I gave one of the fellows who lives here in this house a taste once. They went, "Wow!" A bit much for the uninitiated. Anyway, hello Rosario. Wonderful to see you. And Roberto, oh, you're back in Madrid. Yes, there's. Yep, we're kind of turning up the heat, aren't we? Yeah. Internally and externally. Hello, Ava. Greetings to you. What a mesmerizing picture. Oh, you like the picture of the bridge that I found. Yeah, it's beautiful, isn't it? Really kind of captures the whole pastoral and natural energy that I look for. So, thank you, David and Elaine. Greetings from us both, sweltering UK. Not as hot as Madrid. Wow. The pressure is on us humans, isn't it? Yeah. Yeah. Ali, good to see you. There's Christina. Favorite time of Sunday? It's like a warm, loving hug. Just warm, comfortably warm, not blistering the string out. We're not turning up the burners on that. And there's Tiffany, who finally made it live. Yay! So glad you're here. There's Nay. Hello, Nay, and Isabel. Hello to you. Sounds good. There's the mic. Jill, I popped into your dream last night, huh? Nice to see me live. Well, I was live there, too. You never know. Okay, now I got the sound fixed. Barb, it's all well and good to try and ignore the ego, but isn't that ability to not identify with an ego sort of a privilege? I'm unpacking $600 worth of groceries as we speak. Yes, you're your husband and 3 kids. Yeah, I get it. How can my ego not sort of run my life to a certain extent to help me survive, you know? This is really good because I've never taught or said ignore the ego. In fact, it's impossible. You can't ignore the ego. This is a practice. In emotional healing, the idea is to tame the ego. And by disconnecting all the associations we have about ourselves with our conditioning. When you see conditioning as conditioning, that's actually dismantling the ego. Because the ego is just an idea you have of yourself. Right? It's not actually who you are. It's not the ego that's unpacking $600 worth of groceries. It is the ego taking credit for unpacking $600 worth of groceries. But it's not actually doing it. Probably all heard my analogy of the circus clown, where the acrobats perform death-defying feats. The audience jumps to its feet in a standing ovation, and the circus clowns come out and take the bow. That's the ego. Ooh, what happened? Where did it go? Turned upside down. That's the circus clown. It is taking credit after the fact. So nothing is lost when we see through the ego. And don't confuse the ego with individuality. Right? and the sense of being an individual person. Of course, that's part of the deal. You know, when you go to the grocery store to buy the things, there's a certain set of kind of parts of you that emerge, you know, that are making choices, and, you know, what does the family need, and taking the notes, and we're grabbing the kids as they run off, unless they're home with dad, but they're probably all 3 with you as you're going through the grocery store. So all of this is going on, right? But none of it's being done by an ego. It's all being done by you and our natural inclinations. It's done by the mother in you. And when you talk to the person at the who's checking you out, right? Or maybe just beep, beep, you know, the self-service things, which I hate. I always go to a person if there's one there. I don't care how long the line is. All of that are qualities that emerge in the moment and shape you. So when you're with the kids, you're one way, your husband another. When you're here on a tea with G, it's another shape that you can assume. So all the shapes are coming and going, right? So if you can be all of those things, if you can take the shape of all of those things, then what are you? Right? The ego is nothing other than the conditioning that, because of the absence of safety, got stuck in a particular set of qualities, because those qualities were what were successfully keeping you safe and surviving in the environment in which you grew up. As the environment changes, there's adjustments to the sense of self, but there's really this very profound, deep assumption that the world is still as dangerous as it was then. And so the range of qualities that we have access to is limited because I am this, I am not that. That's it. That's all it is. It's not this, grandiose thing. It's nothing we have to get rid of. It's a separating out of you, the real you that is actually doing things, and the sense of self that is projected onto it. If you can see that, you can see that what is running your life is identification with the conditioning and identification with this idea we have in our minds as to who we are, what I can do, what I can't, the limits and the like. And just gently, lovingly scrutinizing it. Is that really true? Am I actually limited? When a tough decision has to be made, or even just any kind of decision, decision that requires any kind of debate, inner debate, should I or shouldn't I? You'll notice that there's a conversation going on, that what you're trying to do is find the side of the decision based on one of two things. It's always going to boil down to safety and freedom, right? And what's going to get the call? Now, if safety is dominant because of conditioning and because of our identification with conditioning, it's pretty much usually going to win. We're going to feel like, well, and then we're either going to go sour grapes on the freedom part, the thing that I was desiring, the direction I wanted to go in, and say, well, I didn't really want it anyway, or it's not God's will, or all sorts of nonsense that we use to try to justify the fact that the fear inherent in safety, fear is how safety maintains its boundary, its control, was not adequately seen through, so that safety wasn't completely coloring the picture. So you could stand back and go, this is advantageous. I want to do this, but the nervous system, that sense of safety, has all presumed that it's not safe to do it. And so it says no. So this whole process becomes reconciling safety and freedom, allowing safety, that part of us that has been dominant and running your life, to come to see that it's not as dangerous as it assumes it to be. So it can look and see, not is it dangerous, rather than it is dangerous, and making the hard line. This is the process of emotional healing. But you begin to recognize that in order to do that, you have to step out of the role of taking sides. You can't put up a fight, get rid of this thing that is running my life. If I could just get rid of it, my life would be free. Or the denial of the freedom, it's not important and all of that, I'll just settle for what I can get. You take neither of those positions, but recognize they are both perspectives, they are both ways of looking at the world. And now you're sitting in a place that can see both, listen to both, and work with the energy of safety so it sees that it's more safe. And work with the energy of freedom so it's not foolhardy, so that there's a conversation going on. Now, in that position, you're not the ego. The ego's not there. The ego is what identifies with one side or the other and turns it into a fist fight. Can you see the difference? The self, who you really are, doesn't need a false idea to govern itself. Right? You could put it that becomes then a sense of a healthy ego, one that is malleable, one that is sattvic. Right? If you don't know that term, it's the higher stuff. It's wise, it's compassionate, it's measured, it's not reactive. Right? We could see that as a sense of a healthy ego, or we could see it as just what you actually are that is not the ego. It just depends on how you define it. When I use the word ego, I'm referring to the sense of self projected onto experience that is just an image in the mind, which is why I would say you're not the ego. That it is an activity of the mind and belongs basically with the conditioning. Right? That's where it came from. It's a self, a sense of self that emerged, that maintained the relationship between freedom and safety by I am this, therefore this is this, and this is this, this is good, this is bad. All arbitrary, really. And that's all it is. That's all there is to it. Right? So you don't need that. You don't need a false view of yourself to help you with your life. You do need the capacity of discernment. You do need all the various characters, right? A few of which the ego identified with, the others it pushed to the side. You want them all. You want access to all the various aspects of yourself. Right? And the ego is simply a limit on that. The idea that one or a couple of those aspects are okay, the rest are off limits. The freedom means I have access to all of me. So I can show up here as a teacher. I could show up with my teacher as a student, as a devotee. I can show up with my grandchildren as grandpa. I could show up, in the self-inquiry sangha as a non-dual self-realization guide. I can show up as an emotional healer. Right? They're all me, and yet is any one of them me? No. Which one am I? God, I don't know. Who am I? All I could say is nobody in particular. What do you need me to be in this moment? What do I need to be in this moment? It's like my example that has not worn out yet, my metaphor of music and the song. The song is not a limit on music. But if we think music is limited to just this, and you hear people go, oh man, I don't want to I just listen to rap or hip-hop or country or something. All the rest is junk. Well, no, it's not. It's music. There's all sorts of different aspects of it. And as I both spiritually matured and matured as a musician, I began to appreciate more and more and more and more of the vastness of it and the quality of each. And I could take from each and put it together in my unique way. So to be free of the ego simply means to be free of the limitations on my sense of self. That's it. And that's how you run your life from the place of true being. Right? And I don't think of the self, this grandiose thing. It's just, like you learned in level 2, it's just your true, authentic being. It's just way bigger than we thought it was. Am I getting to it, Barb? Am I hitting the sweet spot? Anybody? It's very tasty. Lemon and apple cider vinegar. It's in there. Which gives it the kick. So, let me know. Let me let go of that one for now. I'm so glad that question came up. I mean, questions like that really make me happy because they allow me to make that bridge between the two worlds. Until you find that there aren't two worlds, and you don't need a bridge. It's just one very fluid flow from the beauty of everyday human life to the ultimate reality of the oneness of all things. Right? Oneness, one without making things the same as me. One yet many at the same time. Now the mind can't grasp that. Right? And that's reality. That's what's actually going on. One appearing as many. Just like you are one, but you appear as many things in your life. That is the manifestation of that one that appears as many. And that's eternity. You'll be doing that forever. And everything is different. Right? You're not doing it in the same way you did 5 years ago or 3 years ago, even since I met you. Right? It's in a constant state of transformation, with new aspects of you appearing all the time. And it's really wonderful when the new aspects appear. It's like, oh, wow, that's me too. So what are you? You cannot nail it down. That's why I say it's empty, you're formless, you're shapeless. But that means you can take any shape and not get stuck there, which also means not suffer. All right. Tiffany, I'm going to unapologetically dive in. That's my girl. I want attention. Well, you got it. Here it is. I'm all yours. And to feel loved by a man. Oh, well, yeah, but I know. But, yeah, that kind of man. Right, I get it. But at the same time, I don't want to depend on it to feel good. But it makes me feel good. What? I guess the question is how to be just to rest at equanimity, lovely, when the experience is there, and okay when it's not. Yes. Well, it is, if I might say this, the $1,000,000 question, isn't it? It is the question that everybody who's really on the spiritual path, which is the middle way, which is not one side or the other, which is not human bad, get rid of it, relationships don't matter, or love, I have to love myself first, and all of that nonsense. Or, none of it exists, it's all an illusion, I'm completely self-contained and self-satisfied, I don't need anybody else. Also bullshit, right? Which is the technical term I use. Bullshit, bullshit. Yes, that's what it is. This is our minds trying to do what our mind can't do, which is navigate human life in all of its ups and downs and beauty, and at the same time find yourself participating in human life, but not defined by it. So, a simple question, a simple, non-dual, self-inquiry question that isn't complicated and doesn't require your mind to answer. Namely, when you are feeling loved by a man in the way you want to feel loved by a man, which is, by the way, perfectly normal. It's what's supposed to happen. It's not an illusion, folks. If anybody out there who happens to be stuck in neo-advaita, it's not an illusion. This is what life is. Of course it is. Life actually depends on it, doesn't it? Right? Life depends on that in order for there to be more life. Right? That doesn't rule out those relationships that are gay, lesbian, all the various mixtures. It doesn't rule it out. It's the same kind of energy, but we see that there's that definite function between the male and the female that serves life. It's part of life. It's got to be there. None of us would be here without it. So yay for that. The fact that it feels really good, and there's other aspects of it, like the emotional content, the sense of safety and security, the sense of the balancing of two very different, the flow between two very different energies. Now, all of that is to be experienced. But the thing is about human life that we have a hard time coming to terms with, and that is, it has to have both sides. You can't pick up one side of a stick. Where there is great love, there will be great grief, because the nature of everything is that it is in constant transformation. The nature of all experience is it never sits still. Now, if I can, well, let me finish the question. When you, I got digressed, sorry. When you are feeling that sense of being loved by a man, maybe you've felt it really at one point, maybe you haven't, but but we know it when we see it. That's why it's so inherent in us. Nobody has to confirm that for you. You know whether you have or you haven't. There's no need to doubt. Even if you've never experienced it, you'll know it when you see it. You know, the adolescent that falls in love for the first time knows it's love. Nobody needs to tell them. Right? Now, there's that. And on the other side, you know what it's like to not experience that. And those are the two sides of the stick. Of course, all our instincts are to prefer that one over that one. Right? Duh. Now, just leave that just as it is, absolutely innocent. The thing is in human life, you cannot avoid it, can you? You cannot avoid both. Somebody will break your heart, and you will break hearts. That's part of life. It's going to happen. Sometimes in ways that you don't expect, just like love comes in ways that you don't expect. Right? There's no way out of that. Okay? Just accept that as a fact. There is no way out of that. Now, what is it that can actually experience both? Whatever can experience the up and the down, all of the opposites, is it bound by anyone in particular? Isn't there something that is beyond the opposites that can perceive it? It's a question to really take to heart. Right? Because now notice, I'm not trying to discount human experience at all. What I am wanting to do is to take you to a place from which human experience will be experienced as it actually is in all of its variety. That's where you find equanimity, right? Where there's a contentment there, right? Which is subtler and deeper than the happiness that is conditional. Now, it doesn't rule out happiness that's conditional. Right? Being in love is, being loved by somebody is just amazing. But even the greatest love, the high school sweethearts that stay in love through their whole life, which may not actually ever occurred, except in myths and legends, nonetheless, were it to occur, it would end, wouldn't it? It would get transformed, of course, right? The enormous, chemistry and physical passion in the beginning would be rekindled, but it would be different going along the ways because our bodies are different and like. And eventually, there would be a letting go. We call it death, right? Wrong word, but nonetheless, there'll be the final transformation where this form no longer sustains itself and just goes back to the elements, right? And the water here becomes part of a plant and up into the sky and becomes a cloud and rains down somewhere. So the water that's here may end up in somebody's, morning beverage as the earth recycles itself. So the fear that gets people, that kind of holds us back, is this sense that if I detach and I'm equanimous, I'm not going to get anything. Why would I need a man then if I'm all equanimous? they both occupy the same territory at the same time. It's one and many simultaneously. It is the sense of absolute peace and contentment and the experience of the intense desire. Right? Because you're right. If finding this equanimous, peaceful place, right, took away all of the feelings, and which is the sum total of human experience, right? It's not thought; it's felt. Life happens from here down. Oops, bumped it again. If they took it all away, it would be. What be the point of any experience? There would be no experience. It'd be totally dry, empty. In order to manifest that pure, impersonal love, requires deep, passionate, personal love. They're not two. One is the manifestation of the other. So, yes, now let me, before I go to the conclusion. So do you see that? There's something that recognizes both the intensity of love and the intensity of grief. It recognizes that things are changing, that it's not going to ever be static. We wouldn't want it to be. There will always be ups and downs, even in the most beautiful of love. It's going to settle into a valley, and if you work it right, there'll be the other peaks that'll happen as the relationship grows. And there will be the experience of a broken heart, and pain, betrayal, all sorts of things that are also part of the deal. But if I do not feel that intensity of the desire, the fulfillment will mean nothing. If I'm sitting here and I'm not thirsty, I'm not hungry or anything, and somebody brings me a nice big glass of sparkling water and a meal, who cares? I'm not hungry. But if I am, I'm thirsty, I want to grab it. So it has all to do, desire, fulfillment, right? Now, desire and fulfillment are the manifestation on this level and are experienced as such. When seen from this place that is beyond that, they're seen as they are, and they're felt in their totality. So the fulfillment of the desire becomes deeply satisfying and feels good. And the heartbreak feels bad. It's supposed to. You're not supposed to avoid feeling good, right? To be spiritual, to be beyond it. Nor do you try to, any more than you would try to avoid feeling bad. Because your heart gets broken, or something doesn't work, and even when it comes very close, I've had that experience of just right there in the celly, in love and in business and all sorts of things. Right? So when we're talking about this place of deep peace and contentment, we're not talking about a place that is sterile, right, and makes human life this bland, barren kind of place that you just kind of muddle through for a while until you wake up and get out of it. It's simply a place that is pure stillness. It is pure contentment. But even the words stillness, contentment, equanimity don't capture it, because it's beyond any words we can think of. It is simply the pure stillness. The wheel of life turns. The hub of the wheel is always stationary. It requires that stationary hub in order for the wheel to turn. In fact, the word dukkha in Sanskrit, which is the word translated into English as suffering, refers to the hub of a wheel that has gotten out of true and the wheel doesn't turn. Or you've gone through level 2, so you saw the flow. It's what freezes the flow. I mean, that's what a trauma is, right? It's simply freezing you into a particular position, so life isn't flowing anymore. But for it to flow, in order for all of this to be in such incredible, beautiful transformation, which we want, right? You want to transform the drab relationship into a cue the violins. You want that transformation. In order for that to be, there must be a still center point. You are the still center point. But the stillness is what you are. The vastness of human life is what you experience and what is the appearance of you. They are not two. How's that, Tiffany? Okay, Ava subscribed to Barb's question. Good. Good. Maybe I'm sure others did too, because it's a big one and it's a common one. Nay, lovely nay. For a while now, I've noticed physiological response, which I've called the hyper-rational roof, or roof, depending on where you live, often in the forehead. It's often triggered by a lot of things, but self-expression, doing the right thing, oh boy, and trust are big ones. It doesn't seem logical to trust myself, or that something, someone, myself isn't safe. E.g., non-duality doesn't seem logical. Is this purely mind-ego-based, or does the nervous system play a role in this? And if so, how? Well, yes, non-duality. Well, it's really hyper logical, but it contradicts the way we normally think of things. That's all. It's just it's a different way of looking at the world. It is not the same as all of our traditions here have been, which is the classical analysis, the subject and the object. The subject studies the object and knows about the object. It dismantles the object, all through the observation of it. And non-dual self-inquiry is not that. It's Vedanta, which is you looking at you. It's a non-dual exploration. Right? So, because you're not two things, you're one, you can't look at yourself as an object. You can't study yourself as an object. So you can't know yourself in the way we'd know anything else, in the way our modern world works, the way science works, and all that kind of stuff. That's it. Right? That's why it seems so odd. Right? And I just draw a distinction between what is experienced, right, and myself, the one who's experiencing it. And self-inquiry is simply about trying to get to understand you as the one looking without it being mixed up with what you're looking at or what you're experiencing. Now notice in that there's no diminishment or degrading of what's being experienced. It's just being looked at from a different place. And most importantly, our sense of identity. So you're having this physiological condition in your forehead, which you called a hyper-rational roof, which I suspect means it's analyzing things in a very rational way. Is that an accurate way of putting it, Nay? I'm going to kind of assume that. Till I see otherwise. Right? There's nothing wrong at all with being rational. Oh my God, could this world use some more of that? We're awash in irrationality, in a complete incapacity to reason intelligently, to think critically about anything. It's been just really wiped out, especially in this country. If it wasn't, we wouldn't be in the situation we're in now. Yeah. So, but rational, logical, intelligent thinking isn't self-operating. It needs to have criteria by which it draws conclusions. It has to say, okay, this is okay, so this is, and a falsity can be introduced anywhere up and down that line. And if it is, even though the conclusions are perfectly rationally worked out, they're going to be wrong because the information it was working with is incorrect. So the hyper-rational is fine. But what you're referring to is a pain, a tension right here. Now, I have to tell you that early on in my spiritual experience that went on for a while, I had that. There was always this kind of there. Right? And I don't really know when that finally disappeared, but it was there for a very long time. Right? And of course, I wanted to get rid of it, but at the same time, I'd gotten so used to it, I didn't notice it all the time. It would be very, very intense that it would be there. And it always came about, I noticed, when I was trying to kind of move past particular assumptions, right? Now, assumptions, of course, there's some, you can't even see them. You're just kind of going through the process of trying to open yourself up to see the assumptions that are running our lives and see through them, right? And it's very rational, right? Oh, this is an assumption about my life. I'm living that assumption about my life, which means I'm experiencing it as that assumption. Is that assumption true? Now that's very rational, isn't it? Quite, right? But we run into, physiologically, the conditioning that is part of that assumption. It's not just a mind assumption, it's a whole body, nervous system assumption about you, who you are, what life is, what's possible, what isn't. And so it shows up as resistance. It shows up as resistance to certain thoughts we have, resistance to dreaming, right? It argues, doing the right thing. What does doing the right thing mean? Well, excuse me, to a nervous system that is programmed in a certain way around safety, right? The right thing will be whatever conforms to that assumption. As you mature and become more spiritual but more emotionally free and begin to see through that, doing the right thing now becomes more about, well, what do I actually care about? What do I love? What is it I need? The way I've been acting, the way I've been thinking of myself, is that really true? The right thing is taking on a whole new meaning, right? But the system can still very much be stuck in the position of this is what the right thing is, and there will be resistance to it. And that resistance can show up in all sorts of ways, but one of the ways it can is literally a tension right here in the forehead, basically the third eye chakra, if you like that particular model, which, in the way I've approached it, using archetypes rather than swirling vortexes of light, this is the seat of the visionary, of higher reasoning. Right? The conditioned mind, the mind that is based completely on conditioning is actually the third chakra, the sense of identity, the storyteller. Whereas the liberated mind, the true mind, is the visionary, and that's what is represented by the sixth chakra, which is right akin to the sage, right? Which is this access to the whole, and this what you are desiring is the access to the unlimited, the unbounded, the love that doesn't have limits, the sense of self that is not just stuck in a little tube, right? So it doesn't seem logical to trust myself. Well, let's put it this way. It's not, you use logic to discern, right? Is this trustworthy? Am I trustworthy? You don't want to say, I got to trust myself. First off, if I did that my whole life, I'd probably be dead by now, because I made a whole lot of really stupid decisions. When I looked at that, it was really because I wasn't trusting, I wasn't clear about who I really was, which means on a very practical level, I wasn't clear about what was really important to me. Was I seeking just more safety? Was I grabbing at a freedom that just looked like it was free but really wasn't? There was kind of this having to come in a bit, not a bit, quite a bit, to recognize that in order to trust myself, I have to know myself. I have to get to know myself, little by little, right? Now, when we've worked together live, you and I, tapping or inquiry, what's come to you during that time, you've trusted, haven't you? Right? Because you could see that and feel in your body, as well as see through your mind, that this had truth in it. That it aligned with logic, and it resonated with the real you. That resonance is what kind of tells you that the logic is on target. It's the resonance that is the kind of the real essence of it. It's the truth in you, recognizing the truth when it sees it, and that truth, guiding logic, will bring you to the table that's full of all the stuff, the goodies that we're desiring in life, but we've been cut off from. So remember, when I say mind and ego and all of that, I'm really referring to the sense of self that is completely identified with conditioning, which we all were at one point. And all of us, especially those of you that are here, are in the process of that disidentification. And it takes a little bit of time because we're not really all clear. It takes some time for that clarity to come. Yeah. So from that point of view, looking at that as non-duality, as simply a different way of explaining phenomena, the experience of being, and everything we are experiencing, it's quite logical. It's just different than the dualistic, the classical analysis, or the scientific method, its way of assessing experience and oneself. Right? Different images of experience and the self. That's it. Is this all making sense to you? And I think you might have given me some more little guidance down there. Yes, and the roof acts like a barrier for anything that isn't contained under it, protected to come through. Good, 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 yes. Always remember, everybody, always remember, resistance is not an enemy. It is an overzealous friend. If you can see it like that, it'll take the sting out of it. You won't see it as this thing you have to fight. Right? Remember, it was just the absence of safety. It was the absence of love that put the whole nervous system into this shape in such a way that it was like, oh, there goes the squeak, look at that, isn't it? That could deal with the world around it at a time when you didn't have the capacity for the discernment that you now do have the capacity for, and it's still just operating more or less from that position. That's it. That's all there is to it. Right? So if you can see that and take it as, one of my favorite examples, a rescue dog. It doesn't know any better. It doesn't know what else to do. It was trained this way, that's what it's doing. So since it was the absence of love and safety that created it, it's obvious that the only way to dissolve it is to give it love and safety. Give it an environment in which that's there. And if that's there, it'll sense it, because it senses everything, and it will begin to adapt to it. And the more consistent that is, the more it adapts. The more it adapts, the more free you feel, which reinforces the whole process, and it gets bigger. Now that insight into how this whole mechanism works grew out of my non-dual exploration and the logic that emerged from it. So hopefully that clears it up for you. My dear, and level 2 will be starting for you sometime in July. I'm pretty sure that's what it's going to be. And the next level 1, if anybody's interested, and level 3 as well. And for those of you who have graduated beyond all the levels, something's going to happen around the same time. So, yeah, don't worry about, is it purely mind-based or ego-based? You can't figure this stuff out. That's the mind trying to figure it out. And mind, they're completely intertwined. The ego is nothing but a thought in the mind. Right? And what can discern the difference is not mind or ego. But it's you. It's the you that's there, that was there before mind and ego emerged, has been experiencing mind and ego, experiencing identification with mind and ego, and will be there having the experience when mind, ego, as it dissolves, becomes thinner and thinner, more transparent, more and more light comes through it until finally it's gone as an entity that somehow is fighting you. It gets transformed. Like every other form of energy, it gets transformed into the power of expression of yourself. Mind, expression, the universe, all become one. Good. I love you, Nay. Thank you for that. Thank you for that. Really good questions today. I'm very, very happy. Very, very happy. Huh. Robbie. Hello, Robbie. Good to see you. Jay Hariong G. I'll catch replay later. I prefer to self-check out if it's less stuff. Avoid the awkward conversation. Even if I have a couple of things, I'll wait in the line if they're there. Right? Unless it's, like at Costco or something where it's, all the way to the other side of the store, then all right, never mind. But rarely. Eva, shapes of myself which are coming and going. Yes, this statement really reached me deeply. Very good. Yes. They're not an enemy. Human life is not an enemy. Transcending doesn't mean getting rid of. It means coming and seeing it from a higher place. At the top of the mountain, the valleys aren't gone. The sides of the mountain aren't gone. You just see them all. And you see them as they are from this vantage point. And the beauty of that is you can go right back down to the mountain and get in the valley. You don't have to stay up there, you know. You don't have to do that. This transcendence, just wherever. You flow wherever. Wow. It says, and these shapes are changing, flowing accordingly with the situation. Yeah. I could say according with the energy flow, and then it is all one energy flow. I described it here the way I felt it. Good. Yes, it is just one energy flow. That same energy taking countless forms. Same energy. I mean, everything around us is made of the same stuff. Right? Going all the way down the molecular level, and then the atomic, and then the subatomic, and down into the quantum, you find it's all absolutely the same, taking all these different shapes and forms. It's all one. The only difference between the Vedantic or non-dual point of view and the point of view of materialistic sciences is that that essence that is taking all the shapes is not physical. It is consciousness. Consciousness is the essential substance. It's the essential energy, if you want to use that term. And you are that. That's what you are. You have every right to say, I am molecules, I am the quantum field. You have every right to say that. The only thing is that the materialistic view thinks that the consciousness that recognizes that is made of that. That somehow this all happened and consciousness emerged from it. Right? Although it's called the great problem of science because it doesn't make any sense. The model is there. It's supposed to fit in the model. It doesn't fit in the model, but the model will not allow for the possibility of consciousness as a self-existent entity. And that the relationship between all of this and consciousness is not this, then consciousness, but consciousness as the ground of being out of which everything else has emerged. All of it, atoms, everything. Nothing needs to be left out. From there, coming to there, that's the true I, the self of everything. Even of each of our individual forms, is also the essence of it, is that which is the shape, the self of all things. So to say, I am the self, and I am myself, they're not two. Time for a sip. You better watch out, Jay. I just may give you an assignment of getting into the line with a human, and even when you only got a couple of things. I might not doing it. You don't have to, but be aware. Megan, love to you too. Barb, it's because I feel collectively overwhelmed. It's hard to not identify with the ego, but the ego believes I should be able to do it all, or to give up completely. Very good. Yes. Yeah. So it's hard to not identify with the ego, right? Well, yeah. No, it's the ego as a sense of self is just arising. It's what it is, right? And don't identify. It's just a process that we put ourselves through that makes us miserable. My approach is, when I say disidentify, what I mean is, look, just look. Be willing to look and go, okay, what's here? I feel overwhelmed. Okay, what does that mean? Really look at it carefully. Because overwhelmed is a word that says it's too much. So there's a thought behind that. Right? There's a meaning behind that. So fine, that's there. Not saying it's true or not true. Right? It certainly feels as if it's more than I can handle, even though you're handling it. Now, just go to the feeling itself, the sensation itself, without calling it overwhelming or not overwhelming. This is easy, this is hard. None of that, just the sensation itself, which is, I feel it a lot, actually. God, what do I do? I got to do this, how do I organize this? And being horrible at organization, it kind of adds a little bit of, a little bit of vinegar to the to the mix. Right? But just look at the feeling. There's a feeling there, right? That for whatever reason, there's more here. The nervous system is in a state where it can't settle in and just focus. It can't. It's got all these different things that are going on simultaneously. Right? And just take a step back and say, okay, yes, in this particular moment, I have no idea what to do. My body is doing this. My mind is coming up with a story about it. Right? There's a sense of me wanting to become the person who's overwhelmed. Right? That's there. That used to be that is what I would normally do. Right? So now, from this vantage point, right? You're not overwhelmed. You are experiencing what's going on in the nervous system. It's reactions to the environment. Perfectly fine. Right? There is a sense there that says it's overwhelming. Right? That's there. Right? May be true. Fine. Right? You also notice there's a belief there that I'm supposed to be able to do it all. Oh, okay. Because if that's true, then yeah, I'm overwhelmed because I can't do it all. Right? So if I'm supposed to do it all, but I can't do it all, well, obviously, I'm screwed. And I'm feeling miserable. So now you can, okay, well, wait a minute. Who said I'm supposed to be able to do it all? I should be able to do it all. Who said? Now, notice from here, all the players here, all the piece parts together, you can look at this thing that is the cause of the suffering. Right? It's the cause of the overwhelm. Right? Now, it's not the ego that sees that. If I identify that, if I say, it's true, I should be able to do it, I've created a self-image of myself, that's the ego. In that moment, I've created an ego. But it doesn't exist independently of that. If I step back here and go, is it actually true? Just the question. I don't even have to answer it yet. But just in the position where I can ask the question, there's no ego there. The ego doesn't happen until I identify. Now, if I look at that and I see, you know what? It's not true. I don't have to be able to do it. Matter of fact, I can't. So even if I'm supposed to, fuck it, I can't. Okay, good. I'm supposed to, can't. I can't do it all. Now, you could say that's the ego, right? But it's certainly a better one, isn't it? Yeah? It just says, I can't do it. That's it. Some things may fall off the, some of my spinning dishes may drop and break. So be it. I'm going to choose to be as peaceful as I can and take on what I can. Now you could say that is a more sattvic, a more mature sense of ego, and that's fine. You could also say that, well, this is a sense of I that is looking from a very different point of view. It's honoring me, it's reasonable, it's recognizing the limitations that are here, and not necessarily identifying with it, but okay, this is the way being. There's a word for it. I can't think of it right now. Just kind of like going with the flow. Okay, this is the flow. Part of the flow is I can't do it. Simple as that. I can't do it. Now, the sense of I that could evolve from that is somebody who knows what they can do and what they can't do, is a much improved position, but the insight that could see the difference and even recognize the root belief there, that's not the ego. Can you see that? Right. So yes, like living life while playing the role of an overwhelmed mother and manager. Thanks. Yes. Right. You're playing a role of somebody who's got a lot of responsibilities as mother, a lot of responsibilities at work as a manager. You have a team. You are responsible. All of that's true. You don't have to become an overwhelmed mother or an overwhelmed manager. You can become a mother, the mother who does what she can, right? Which is, that's not easy in itself. Just constantly shifting things. What's important now can change, and all of a sudden in a heartbeat, something else has to be taking place. Everything is, all right, you're getting all the sandwiches made, and suddenly somebody's got a bloody nose. Sandwich inside. I've got to take care of that. This is the reality. Right? And you can flow from one to the other without suffering, without a sense of, I can't do it. Yeah, right, I can't. I got to take care of that. Take care of the bloody nose that's not over here, but all of the clothes. I've got to change his clothes, and I got to. The kids are going to be late for school. Yep, that's what's going to happen. Fine. Take care of this. Make the sandwiches. Put them in the bags. All right, kids, off to school we go. Right? Or okay, Bruno's staying home. I'll take him later. You guys go, or you got to catch the bus, or whatever it is. It's this moment by moment responding to life. With no overhead. The same thing as managing your team. When to praise, when to be a little bit harder on them, when they need help, when they're just being lazy, when they need a kick in the ass. All of that kind of stuff happens naturally when you allow yourself to be that which is aware of the ego, working through the humanness, but is not limited to it. You can be the mother, take on the role of mother, but not overwhelmed mother. Clear, undisturbed, patient mother. Yeah, you'll feel exasperated. Good Lord. Yes, indeed. You will feel exasperated, and you can let yourself feel exasperated. Yeah, it's exasperating right now. Right? Notice there's no sting in it. There's no criticism, right? Just, what should I be? Only what you are. There are no shoulds. There are no should be able to. Well, okay, maybe I should, but I can't. So there it is. I should be able to effectively run a business and make money. More, right? I should be able to do that, right? I should have thousands of students. I should be able to. Well, I can't. So there it is. So I've got, right now it says 24 people here. Yeah. You are doing what you can, and 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 that's enough. Any thought about more or what should be is always the ego. I shouldn't put it like that. It's always the idea that what you are now, what's happening now, what is needed now is not enough. It should be something else. It's never true. Never. We take it in because early on, trying to be safe within an environment which was not safe, I should be able to do better. I should be able. How can I be more safe? How can I be more safe? And it just turns into this kind of chronic thing that goes on, when in fact there was nothing you could do as a child to become more safe, to be better. There wasn't anything you could do, which is true now. It was true then, it was true now. Back then, there was no other way to interpret it, and there was no discriminating consciousness there yet that could actually guide this. But now there is. Marvelous. 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 Love you, Barb. Hey, Suze. Good to see you. Like playing the role of... I should write according to... Sorry. I got it. Tiffany, I just had a thought. All right, hold on. I'll alert the media. I don't need to cling to the truth, to that which is real and true. No. What does that mean for you? Oh, I really want to hear. Why don't you need to cling to it? I was just about to give the answer. No. You're well along on this. I want to hear. I want to hear from you. I want to hear it right from the horse's mouth. Yeah. Christina, last few days I feel like I'm two people in one body. One is going through some turmoil and struggle, really wanting for it to go away, and the other is one that is seeing everything. The body is WTF. I know they're not in the body, but it feels torn. I'd really like to be able to pick the most comfortable side and feel relaxed, or to find relaxation in the middle, but the noise in the mind is so loud. What if all this was not worth it, and it feels all suffering for nothing? And I see that noise too. Yeah. Well, for the most part, suffering is for nothing. But what we're here to do is to find the cause of suffering. You feel like you're two people in one body. One struggling, it's chaotic, really wants for it to go away. The other one is seeing everything. Muji used to tell the story of two birds. I saw a picture of two birds sitting, and one was a very busy bird, going back and forth, building the nest, making it all ready, going out, and feeding chicks and everything that it had to do. And on another branch, on that same tree, an identical bird sitting above it on another branch was just watching the whole thing. The government came, the chicks and everything. This is the experience we go through while we're awakening. There's this sense of there being this person going through all this stuff in turmoil, suffering, everything's horrible, it all sucks, let me out of here. And another one that's just witnessing it. It's quite accurate. It's quite true. There is this, what used to be total identification with the one going through the turmoil and struggling and all that, has come to this. now that you're seeing that one that is struggling, right? But that sense of identification, right, is still there. It's like it hasn't completely separated out where this witness has become pure witnessing. Right? It still has interest in the outcome. It's still picking sides. It's still got money on it. Wants to know the odds and the spread and all of that stuff that they talk about. Right? So notice that even the witness who's got interest in it, there's something aware of that too. And just notice it. That's all you have to do. Notice that, yes, of course, in the middle of turmoil, what do we want? We want it to go away. Perfectly natural. So, not a problem for it wanting to go away. In fact, at that essence, what does it want? It wants to be free of suffering. It just thinks that if I make this go away, then I will be free of suffering, right? Which isn't true. Right? Now this other witness, right, wants to get to the point where it's, let's put it this way, yeah. The cause of the suffering is that this witness here is still attached to it. The witnessing is not pure witnessing yet. It still has a vested interest in the outcome. So pull back even more. Let this be there, the wanting, the struggle, all of it that's going on. Right? And then just recognize that there is in you something witnessing it, right, that is not struggling with it. That even the witness that's got a vested interest in what's going on, it also is being witnessed, isn't it? Once you come to see it. It's like in the metaphor of the birds, the bird that's building a nest. There's another bird here, right, that's just watching it all happen. Right? But maybe that bird's going, oh, it's not really the best way to build a nest. I wish they should bring them something better to eat. It's still witnessing. It's just not. So let's get to the position of the bird watcher. It's watching it all. Look at all of that happening. But isn't taking any sides. It doesn't have a vested interest in the outcome. Now, what I want you to notice is that this isn't some place you try to get to, that it's actually here already. You're already there in this position when you recognize that the witness that has the vested interest is also appearing to you. It's also being seen by you. Remember, you're not getting anywhere. You're clearing the vision. Right? Yeah. Right? So, that is the middle way. The middle way is simply this place that sees it all, but is not choosing sides. Right? So your understanding, like I know they're not in the body, it feels torn. Perfect, yes. I would really like to pick the most comfortable side and feel relaxed or find relaxation in the middle. That's the witness with interest, isn't it? So now, isn't that also seen, that preference is seen? It's not, of course you want that, right? There's nothing wrong with that desire, right? Now, where's the desire being seen from? You see, the end of suffering is in the pure witnessing. As long as there's interest, as long as there's preference, as long as there's something muddled up in there, then there will be suffering, right? Because it won't be the way you want it. Right? And in that model, the only time you're not suffering is when it's all the way you want it. Well, how often does that happen in life? And if it does, how long does it last? So that's the sense of relaxation or comfort and suffering that vacillates between the two. In this position that is aware of all that, the sense of I moving to there, because it's actually here right now. It's what's seeing right now. It's what's hearing my words right this moment and discerning, right, is not suffering, because it has no skin in the game. But that doesn't mean that life becomes flat. It becomes more dynamic, but without suffering, because there's no attempt to control life to bring about a certain outcome. When that's gone, there's no suffering, and you experience life as it is, which is going to be this. High notes and low notes, it's going to be that way. So how's that for you, Christina? You're doing hour 30 here. Yeah. So far, so good. Yeah. What if it's all not worth it? It feels suffering. Oh, yeah. Well, would the end of suffering be worth it? I won't presume or propose an answer. Hello, Sylvia, from the oven in. Oh wow, just Europe's having a lot of heat. Wow. Yeah, a lot of stuff going on there in Europe right now, isn't it? Yeah. With the weather and the politics, the climate, economics, lots going on. AIW, what is absolutely true? Nothing that can be spoken, can be said, can be laid out, can be reasoned is absolutely true. All of that is relative, because you have to assume a particular point of view, then deduce things from that point of view, and from that point of view, it's true. The point of view shifts, it's not true anymore. So that's not absolutely true. Relatively true, which is useful. Nothing wrong with that, but it's not absolutely true. That is, what exists in and of itself is not relevant or related to anything, does not need to refer to anything outside of itself for its truth. It is self-sustained. It is what is, not an appearance or a derivative of something else. It is what is. So there's the criteria I'm using for what is true. Look at human knowledge. Doesn't apply. Relatively true? Yes. But not absolutely true. So where do we find that which is? Obviously, it must exist. Because for anything at all to exist, right? And all of this is relative to everything else. Everything is an appearance of something else. This body is an appearance of a collection of cells. The cell's a collection of molecules. The molecule a collection of atoms. The atoms, collect different pockets of energy, and all the different things that keep going down. And so far, nothing has been identified as that which is. It is. From this perspective, the non-dual perspective, it doesn't look at the external, it looks at the internal. What's my actual experience? And at least within the context of this life, right? Without having to go into the beyond what we see as the life. What's the only thing that's absolutely true? That you so absolutely true, you don't even notice it. You don't even give it any attention. Well, it's your own existence. Now, what that existence is, right? How it is, how it came to be, all of that kind of stuff, right, is that's after the fact. And all of that can be deduced from various perspectives. If you see it physiologically or biologically or socially or culturally, anything, that's all relative. When I try to find what I am, I'm into the realm of relative truth. But that I am, that's an absolute truth. I am. Absolutely true. And it qualifies. Self-validated. Right? You don't need anything other than you to validate that you are. You are. You may have no idea who you are. It may be totally delusional. Right? You may be on another planet having a dream of being a human on this planet. Right? All of this could be a total illusion, but you must exist for that illusion to exist. Your existence is absolutely true. That is the foundation of non-dual self-inquiry. I am. I know that I am. The invitation then is to, since it's the only thing we have that's absolutely true, why don't we give it more attention? We don't. Because we've been trained not to. Because my own being, recognizing, acknowledging, seeing how do I know that I am? It's just a direct knowing. It's not one thing knowing another. It's not relative. It's me knowing me. It's a non-dual recognition. Being, seeing being. That is the absolute truth, the only one we have. Well, that I know I am, and I am experiencing. Right? So, there it is. Why don't we put attention there? Because when we do, the mind can't come up with any, because the mind requires a reference point that is itself some idea that the mind can hold on to. But the idea of I just am, not defined by anything else other than my being, and because it's a non-dual recognition, the mind cannot go there. And so we've been trained to not go there. To go, well, yeah, I am, so what? Boom, move on. Until something inside of you, hears the teacher, the guru, or reads something, or that, why don't you take a look at it? Why don't you look at that a little bit longer? Something inside goes, yeah, maybe I will. Yeah, and then you do. And you do it enough, it kind of draws you in, and before you know it, you do start seeing things, but not in the way we normally do, not as objects, but as aspects. I won't lead you. Just do it. just do it. See what happens. Yeah. What do you got to lose? Let's see, Tiffany, pure stillness. I felt that. So wonderful, Gee. Thank you. I love you. Love you too, Tiffany. Nay, yes, and the roof acts like a barrier for anything that isn't contained under it, protecting it. Yes, that's exactly what it is. So don't get mad at the roof. Right? Love the roof. Right? So that the roof will go from being this, old, broken up, rubbly thing to nice clear glass. First, skylights will appear, and then the whole thing will be glass, and eventually it'll be like the domes in a stadium that opens and closes. Right. So, love your nervous system back into the place of assumed safety, with alertness for the opposite, assumed joy, assumed happiness, and won't be avoiding any other experience. Yeah. Hello, Fatima. Slovakia. Victoria's late. Victoria. Punish Victoria. Oops, I'll do it again. What's your view on doing visualization of a future outcome when we have to love and accept our life as it is already? Well, on that bridge we've been walking across together, it fits into the mix. And there have been times I do it. Matter of fact, what you have done, and others tapping, say, well, who would I be if I wasn't this person? I wasn't shy, or I wasn't reserved, or I didn't have all these problems. Who would I be? Right? It does wake up in us that urge towards freedom that has been suppressed because the urge towards freedom is regarded as a threat to the safety mechanism. Right? Now, on the other side of that bridge, in non-dual inquiry, it's not necessary. You don't want to visualize, as a matter of fact, because that forms a concept of something that is not a shape that can be conceived of. It can only be referenced and pointed to by thoughts and images. So the imagination, active imagination, visualization and stuff, is something that is dropped at some point along the way. Knowing when to do that, well, that's another deal. It kind of comes intuitively or with help from the teacher. But when you do that, when people do things like visualization and vision boards and all of that kind of stuff with the attempt to create that future, they've projected themselves into the future, and this moment becomes an impediment to the future, or a stepping stone to it, which takes us out of the present moment. But that's all we ever experience is the present moment. So if I'm saying the present moment bad, present moment bad, future moment good, I'm only going to, what can I do? I'm going to try to make the future out of the present. Because that's all, God, I'm trying to make a mansion out of, canvas and tubes, right? You can't do it. A happy future can't be made out of a miserable present. Right? So the way I would use visualization, as I'm thinking about it, maybe something I could kind of add to the mix in the EFT training, is that go ahead, visualize something you really, really want. I don't care what it is. It can be totally mundane and materialistic. I don't care. It doesn't matter. Right? And when you do, rather than I've got to, be dogged, I got to hold it for 6 times, 17 seconds, or some other kind of nonsense like that. Trying to hold the image, right? And fighting it. Instead, bring the image to mind, and notice the resistance to it. Notice what's going on in the body. And the resistance can take the form of attentional build, a distractional come. You'll be looking over there for something. It'll be hard to hold the image. It'll be fuzzy. So instead of just trying to doggedly do it, what is interesting is, okay, this vision that I have for the future, it's positive. It affects everything. It's just good. It's more free. It's more fun. It's better. It's more safe. Better for everything. Why in the world is there resistance to something so good? Well, obviously, that doesn't perceive it as so good, does it? Whatever is resistance. So now you use it as a way of allowing the unloved, the frightened, that clinging to a very limited sense of life because it seems safe. You're allowing that to come to the surface and go, I see. So you don't think it's safe. I got it. Yeah. Well, let's look together. Is it safe? If I had this, would I be less safe? Right? Yeah, you will. Oh, okay. So now you work with, as I've gone through level 3. You know it. You know the drill by now. You can tap on it. You can just inquire with it. You can to reconcile it. And after you do for a little bit, you come back with the vision, and inevitably you'll find that the visualization gets easier. It's not about the attaining of a particular outcome in the world. If you do that, you're never in the present moment. It's about attaining a reconciled inner state that lives as that state you're trying to achieve out there. It becomes the inner state that you're already living, which eventually will manifest itself in some form externally. I will guarantee you that by the time the manifestation happens, it will bear no resemblance whatsoever to the original vision you had. And also, don't be concerned if it's different one day to the next, or if the picture is constantly changing. It doesn't matter. That's not important. You don't have to. It's not this idea that no, you got to know what you want and really focus your attention on it and see that car and see the headlights and see everything about it and see the interior and my God, there's a lot of work. I'm going to be visualizing the veins will be popping in the back. It's like, oh Jesus, no. That's no fun. Instead, just use it. Use it as an opportunity to connect to the essence in you, the source that's giving rise to that. Right? The image, the vision you have of a better life is an image coming from a sense within you that knows what is true and what isn't, what the great life is, what reality is. And everything that appears in human life is but a momentary manifestation of that. And it's this essence, this source, this energy within us, this truth within us that recognizes it when it sees it. And so the vision of it is coming from there, which means that the substance of what you are seeking is already here, discovered here. The experience of that we imagine the conditions are going to bring us begins to be experienced as a self-existent aspect of yourself, which brings peace, which brings a greater capacity for self-expression, which does harmonize your life and influence it, change it, and reshape it. But it'll be according to the truth, and there won't be suffering because you won't be seeking this in the object, which is constantly changing and unstable. You'll be seeking it in you, and you'll find it in you. And finding it in you, it's not that, oh, I don't need that. That's more nonsense. You'll find that it will be, number one, you'll be operating from the place of fulfillment, not trying to get fulfillment, not from the place of lack. And that sense of fulfillment and wholeness will manifest itself in relationships and experiences and everything being more fulfilling, because they'll be matching. Right? There won't be any more mismatches. You won't have to kiss a million frogs. How's that, Victoria, and everybody else? Christina, a two-selfless friend. Yanko, yeah, Yanko, yeah, your little protector. That's great. The pretty, very handsome protector, by the way. I mean, that's awfully cool. They don't know who Yanko is, do they? Well, let's keep them guessing. Some do. Ava, after level 3, something's going to happen. Yeah, waiting for that, dear G. So am I, Ava. Thank you so much, D. You're welcome, Nay. Where does frequency and vibration fall into non-dualism? What's true? Necessary? It's a way of looking at manifestation, because everything is vibratory, right? We speak of vibes, we speak of energy, and all of that, right? And the frequency, and obviously there's an energetic frequency. If I feel my hand, it feels different than my knee. There's an energetic signature there. With non-dualism, it doesn't throw any of that stuff out. It just says, don't see vibration, energy, as things that are just external, operating on their own. There's the non-dual self-inquiry moves towards not-to-ness. That yes, the experience is there. Of course, it's not going to disappear, but you see it not as something happening out there that I have to control, but something in here that's manifesting out there. And that's the process that happens. So what's true, that is, the actual source, the essence, the reality of it is here, which gives expression to the form of it that appears out here. The notion that the form exists independently of its source is like saying that the image in the mirror is there when I'm not in front of it. It's completely dependent upon the source. This is the appearance. This is the essence of it. This the truth of it, the reality of it. It is not a reality in and of itself. That's what non-duality does. That's all it does. It takes away the sense of being separate from it. Right? And leaves, but the actual experience itself becomes enhanced by that. So, is that clear? So we can call it energy, frequency. Frequency of what? Vibration of what? What's vibrating? Well, consciousness is vibrating. Consciousness is the essence. See, you as the perceiver, right? We're so used to, I'm the perceiver, I'm the ultimate perceiver, that somehow, though this perceiving implies I'm perceiving something other than the perceiver. But non-duality, it's not two. The perceiver and what are perceived are one. That everything that you see, touch, feel, everything coming in through the senses, and the senses themselves are simply a modulation, a self-modulation of consciousness. It is all consciousness. Right? All of it's consciousness, but consciousness is not just the static thing perceiving. It is one with what is perceived. It is the substance of what is perceived. And its nature being infinite, an infinite number of forms can appear. So consciousness, or pure awareness, is both. Everything is happening in awareness, everything is being perceived by awareness, and everything is made of awareness. This is the oneness. And what's the link between the subconscious mind and the nervous system? They're really one and the same. We talk about, these are categories people make, right? The unconscious, the subconscious, and the conscious. Useful? I will use the terms, right? But when we're talking about subconscious, and unconscious, we're talking concepts, aren't we? These are ideas in the mind. We're trying to go, what's the link? Right? And what's the nervous system? Well, it's another idea in the mind. What you're going through in the classes that I'm taking you through is we're detaching ourselves from the concept of the nervous system and the unconscious, and we're going to experience it directly. Experiencing the nervous system, because you're experiencing it all the time. What's the nervous system? Well, the nervous system, unconscious, they're really one and the same. Right? This functioning that's going on that we can know, understand, and see, doesn't have to be unconscious, but because of how we've modeled ourselves and see consciousness as this little thing that is circumscribed, right, limited, it ends at the skin in terms of experience, and occupies, some little piece of the brain in there. This little tiny thing is called consciousness. And we're aware that there are things happening that we're not conscious, that don't fit into form neatly, which is all the mind deals with. We give it the label, it's unconscious, right? And I'm not, well, you are conscious of it. You're experiencing it all the time. The question is, what is it? But because there's a belief that everything I'm experiencing is being experienced of something other than me, we call it unconscious. But if it isn't other than me, all it means I need to expand me so that what we call unconscious isn't unconscious at all. Are you following that? Beautiful questions, my love. Beautiful. How can we cultivate a sense of peace being the perfection I am when perfectionist conditioning is really hardwired into the subconscious mind nervous system? Also, what's well, I'm going to make a lovely suggestion for you. Right? Every time you hear the thought, how can I, how can we, how, recognize that that's the mind trying to do what it can't do. Right? You don't cultivate a sense of peace. You remove everything that is getting in its way, and you experience the peace that's always here. The I am, right, is simply your sense of being. You're aware of it, right? That's it. That sense of I am. Is it not perfect? Can you add anything to it? Can you take anything away from it? Now, it's before it's I am the body, I'm this person, I have these things, I have these desires, all of that. Before that, all of that depends on the I am, right? So you just got I am. Just being with that. Now, you don't need to know how to be, do you? Right? No. So just be with that. Is it imperfect? Is it missing anything? Do you need to add something? Can you be being more? Can it become less? This is simply just a place where you can put your attention. And yes, the experience has been quite conditioned by all this stuff that we would call conscious and unconscious. Useful terms, and I employ them as well. And all that means is that there's conditioned patterns that arise, right, that are contrary to what have become your more conscious interests, which are about being free and being happy and being fulfilled and self-expression and all of that. Right? Now, behind all of that is simply the sense I am. Without that, nothing's here. Right? If you don't exist, nothing's here. Period. Right? So I am that's the ground of being. So that's where we start, and there's where the perfection is. From here, you see all these other things. You see it all. Right? Now, yes, all the feelings are there, and I can call it unconscious, but the moment I become aware of it, it's not unconscious anymore. I'm aware of what's happening. You go more into the info in level 2, you will go into great detail of this, how this whole thing works, and that you are in a place that understanding how it works, it's no longer unconscious. It's just a formless influence rather than a thing. So unconscious is not what we think it is. And conscious is kind of like, take a white piece of paper, right, with the iron fillings on it. Probably all seen this little thing that people do. You bring a magnet underneath it, right, and immediately those things take shape to the form of the magnet. Right? Now, if I didn't know the magnet was there, I'd go, oh my God, it's magic. I'd be studying each of the filings to see how it is they self-organized. Well, they didn't. There's an invisible influence that pulled them into that shape. That invisible influence is what they call the unconscious. And they have all sorts of ideas. It goes very elaborate, books upon books upon books. What it actually is simply the ignorance of what this force is. The moment I know what that force is, which is simply identification with conditioning, it's no longer unconscious, is it? I know exactly what's happening. I know why this is happening. Right? And now I can do something about what it is that's making everything take that shape by disidentifying with this, disidentifying with the paper, even disidentifying with the influence on the paper. Because I can. Because I can see it. Right? So I'm bigger than it is. You following that, love? Wonderful, wonderful. Howie Whitehouse, hello. Howie, any relation to Senator Sheldon Whitehouse? Just curious. The magic of the ordinary. Yes. Yeah, the wonder, the miracle of the ordinary. I mean, the tree behind me, ordinary, right? But like, wow. Let me do this really quickly. Take the background out. Look at that. I mean, wow. The plants, right? The flower. Ordinary? Yeah. Extraordinary? Also, yeah. Tiffany, because was did I miss something in front of that, Tiffany? Are you just being mysterious? Hello, Ida. Hello, Christy. Yes, I noticed that too. Yes, everything you say, it's very subtle. It's there. Yes, 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 yes. That's what because is for. I get it now. Yes, it's there, right? So just let it be there. It's not, right? There's a part of you that really has an issue, doesn't want it to be there. Fine, let that be there too. There's another part, the witness, that has its preferences. Great, let that be there too, not a problem. Just keep retreating back to the place that's aware of all of it. And find, that's not suffering. It doesn't even have a problem with all of that being there. And what's that? Oh my goodness, that's me too, isn't it? That's me. I'm the one seeing that. Does that mean I'm not suffering? Unless I identify with this? Worth pondering, isn't it? Megan, it's been a beautiful one today, G. Thank you and everyone. Oh, you're so welcome, love. Tiffany says, I don't need to cling because, yes, because it just is. Yeah, it is the truth without me having to make it true. It doesn't need defending, nothing to prove or preserve. Yes, right. That truth, is that a concept? Is that an aspect? Excuse me, is a concept? Is an idea? Is truth that we're talking about that you don't need to cling to? Is it something other than you? The truth of you. And don't you think that the truth of you, the source and substance of the appearance of you, don't you think it can maintain that appearance? That it can take care of that? Since it is in fact its source. Howie, message is so hidden because it's so close. How could it be otherwise? You ancient dreamer of this and that. Your spirit expands beyond the bounded you. And when you go there, you truly disappear. When you go there, truly disappear and become enormous. Who disappears? Where is this there? Who's the you that goes there and that disappears? And who is it that becomes enormous? Yeah. What you say is absolutely true. I just want to check to see if there's some subtle sense of a you who becomes the enormity. Because if you disappear, you don't become anything. What is it that disappears? And what is it that never becomes? It doesn't have to become anything. It already is. The words are good. Yeah. Love you, Barb, says Ella. Very true. we all do. The vision of what I want is ever changing. I assume it is because I don't really know what I want. However, no matter what I visualize, there are common themes. Fun. Yeah, yes, you don't have to know the specifics, do you? Because it is going to constantly change. Of course it's going to change. Sometimes it changes, the moment something is actually fulfilled. There's nothing wrong with that. Because the essence of what the vision is not a vision. It's not an object. It's not a thing at all. The thing is just a temporary manifestation of it. If you consider anything that you want, right, it's going to be just a picture in your mind that's going to have certain qualities about it. The essence of the qualities is you, which is always going to be there. So, yes, it's going to be fun, right? Okay, how many different ways can you do fun? Oh, a million. Adventure, connect, all the things you mentioned, peace, safety, all of that can take a gazillion different forms, can't they? And yet all be peace, all be safety, right? Just like music can take infinite, countless forms in terms of songs, right? And every single one of them, and they're all music. Right? And so all of these, fun, adventure, connection, they all have an even more subtle essence behind all of them, don't they? You're the source of all of those attributes. It always comes back to the essence of you, not the concept of you, which is limited, but the essence of you that gives rise to all of this, including the shape. It even gives rise to the ego. It's all part of the deal. It's all part of the deal. Yeah. Victoria, thanks, G. So I won't need to visualize when I grow up. I think that means kind of a hope thing for the moment, focused mainly on health. Beautiful. Yes, of course. Feed the body with images of health. Right? And also recognize the places that are resistant to that. Recognizes the images that are constantly coming up of ill health, right? And don't give them a place in consciousness because they're just another image. That's it. The fact is, and I don't want anybody to take this as medical advice, it is the presence of those images that has created the bodily condition. It's the presence of those images that has sustained the energy flow that's in a particular shape that took both the physical condition and the thoughts about it. That energy flow is altered by love, safety, and also by recognizing that the image that is being held, that you're thinking of as the body, doesn't exist as the body. It only exists as an image. So you can say that image is not the truth of me. This image of health is closer to the truth of me, but it's just an image as well, because here's the big one to get, I am absolutely the same, I am the same wondrous, infinite, boundless me, whether the body is sick or whether it is healthy, whether it is young or whether it is old, whether it is rich or whether it is poor. My being does not depend on the particular conditions that happen to be manifesting at any time. Recognizing that, I will not have an attachment to bringing about a particular result. Now I will simply be asserting and assessing the truth of each thought, saying, that's more true, that's less true. I'm giving that place in my mind. I'm not giving that place in my mind. But I'm not giving that place in my mind so that this will happen. That won't be there. Now it's just, that's not who I am. This is closer, because it's more harmonious, so it's closer to who I am. But it also isn't who I am. And remain free of all identification with the body. And on that note, I will say goodbye to you all. Much thanks, Juji. Today she has changed a lot in my feeling of life and ego. Good, good. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Oh, nay. Love you so much. Ali, Victoria, Stephen Elaine, thanks as always. Yanko and Christina going for a walk. Yanko. You have to meet Yanko. Boy, he's one handsome dude. Yeah. Sean, thank you. Thank you for being here. And Megan, Mary, lovely, lovely, lovely. Thank you all. And remember that this isn't a quest. I gotta get there. Be exceedingly gentle with yourself. Persist in the inquiry because it engages you, because it resonates with you. Try to fall in love with it. So it isn't just about, I'm going to get enlightened, because that just becomes yet another thing we seek. A carrot off in the distance. Just a concept. It means nothing. Enlightened, what is it? Nothing. It's simply this moment, just as it is, and your desire to see this moment just as it is, to experience this moment just as it is, to see through the eyes of truth. That's all there is to it, that desire, to have everything false cleared away, so that I can see what has been here the whole time. Nothing to attain, nothing to lose. It's been here the whole time. I don't become the self. I recognize that I've always been that. And I am now. Even if if it doesn't seem like I'm experiencing it, I'm having this horrible experience, and I am the self. I am already beyond. The thoughts are there, I'm not beyond. Yep, thoughts are there, then I'm not beyond. And I am beyond. I am the self. That is the truth. All right, my loves. Until next time. Thank you, Howie. Yes. Namaste. My love to you all.